then, and then he had ashes on his shoulders.
So much, you too.
See you this afternoon.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
There is so much more about the US trial which seems to be performative because the jurors are not allowed transcripts, whereas in the UK trial the judge would have all the access to the transcripts. Because the jurors in the US aren't allowed transcripts, they are only allowed to make their decision based on the notes they take whilst they are in court and the evidence, the limited evidence, which is allowed to be published to them, and their recollection of what happened over the course of a 6-week trial. So it's going to be necessarily impressionistic, and they're going to have less evidence available to them than we have that's already in the public domain. So I mean, I wouldn't say one jury system or one court system is better or worse than any other, but it does look as if, unless some really damning evidence comes out, it's going to be on the basis of 7 people's recollection, which could come down to a coin toss. I mean, we've heard 2 diametrically opposite versions of reality being presented. So it comes down to who you believe.
He had me by the neck, squeezing my neck, and it got really nasty. It went from like, oh, no one likes you, no one likes me, everyone warned me about you. That's what it was. He started to tell me that everyone had warned him about me and that he wished he had never married me.
It was clear that the more bad press, the more hit pieces that came out on me, the more of these stories of Ms. Heard and her righteous chase against me. It wasn't stopping, and it's difficult to once you've chewed on it for a couple of years, it becomes pretty difficult to swallow anymore. As it was completely untrue.
I think there's a lot more immediacy when you actually see witnesses on the stand talking about their experiences. And I think from the perspective of people go into this type of case because they're worried about their reputation. They want to either defend or recover their reputation. And I think part of the really big difference is that obviously in the thinking through what that type of case entails, for US proceedings, you have to think about actually what the broadcast cut into snippets on social media will look like, and then how it gets reported in the news. And it's very different, I think, to having a reporter reading out what someone said, as opposed to actually seeing it firsthand.
I think celebrities should avoid this kind of court case because essentially it's often better to, just to make a public statement of your position and not to take any action, because what you're doing is then keeping the very allegations in the public eye for much longer than they would normally be, often for years. They might be forgotten about if you just made a public statement denying what was said and then moved on. But once you start the process of a legal action, it ramps up the, it just makes it much more public, and the allegations continue to be reported on a daily basis. Fans get involved, as they have in this case, with lots of social media activity. And none of that is helpful to the careers of actors. So in a way, it's a surprising choice, in my view, for either of them to get involved in this type of case.
I had no ability to speak prior to, because even if I had done an interview to try to explain myself, it turned into a hit piece. So my mouth was shut. And this was the opportunity where I thought something's got to be done.
I think it's made much worse by social media because the parties are directly subject to trolling by, fans of one side or the other. So, and that's, I think, is accentuated in the American case as well, where there are less restrictions on reporting of things and comment on cases. I mean, in England, there's more of a resistance to saying things that are prejudicial to a case, but there seems to be a sort of open position in America where people are prepared to comment and make all sorts of wild allegations, which can't help in the course of a trial that's pending.
If the verdict goes in his favour in the United States, no one will give two hoots in America about what Mr. Justice Nicholl thought in London 2 years ago. It will be as if it never happened. It will be seen as one man's anomalous decision.